evening and welcome to 7 o'clock p.m. Beginners Yoga. I'm Chris, coming at you here from the Hatha Yoga Center in Seattle, Washington. And I'm going to start our class this evening in a seated position. I'm sitting on the floor up on a bolster, and you may want to sit up on a pillow or bolster or even on a chair possibly, probably with no arms and a flat surface. And we'll just find our breath for a few moments before we start. So close your eyes if you feel like it, or just find a soft gaze in front of you and let your seat be heavy wherever you are sitting. Hi, Mary Lou. Let me just take a peek here. Legs and shoulders, a slow class. You got it. I'm going to just start here in the seated position. So finding your seat and just allowing your lower body to be heavy and your spine to kind of rise up, finding the neutral alignment of your spine just by moving a little bit and coming to a place where you feel comfortable and at ease, where your head is balanced on top of your shoulders. And where you can breathe, where you have some room for your diaphragm to move. So probably sitting with a fairly neutral lumbar curve and cervical curve as well. And then finding your breath, just bringing yourself into the awareness of your breath without manipulating it too much, just noticing what your breath feels like right at this moment. And then you might lengthen your inhale and exhale a bit, just bringing yourself into a more conscious, comfortable, measured breath. I'm trying to stay away from using the word deeper because I'm not sure we're really taking deeper breaths necessarily, but probably a little bit more awareness of the movement of the rib cage, the contraction and expansion of the rib cage as you're breathing, perhaps of the movement of your belly as the diaphragm flattens out, as you inhale and pushes down into the abdomen. And then just noticing if you have any tension that you can release in your face or jaw, just softening a bit, softening the eyes, the forehead. Just a couple more breaths, just kind of feeling your way into your breath and back into your body again and again. And if you'd like to set an intention for class tonight, you could bring your hands together at your heart and just take a moment to do that. An intention or a dedication for practice. And then from there, sweeping your arms out and up and reaching up. You could lift your gaze and then bring the hands back together at the heart. Let's just do that a couple times, just sweeping your arms out, reaching like you're gathering up air slowly. And then palms together, your elbows could bend, just bringing your hands back through the midline, and one last time. Lifting your heart, reaching, feeling your sit bones grounding as you're reaching, and back through the midline one more time. And then you might bring your hands back behind your head, and you could clasp your hands or just keep them right back behind your skull and open your heart, let your elbows come out a bit, and then draw them together and round. You don't have to go to any extremes here, just make it a comfortable movement. Arching your back and then rounding a couple of times, feeling your neck rounding and arching. Not pressing too hard on the back of the head. And then reaching the arms out. You could press out through your palms, drawing your fingertips back towards your forearms, and then let your fingertips go down and kind of pointing towards the floor. Moving a couple times like that. You could even curl your hands a little bit as you come into that downward position. And release that. And then stretch your wrists like this, turning your fingertips back, bending the elbows. Just feeling into the wrists and the forearms and the palms of the hands. Noticing your breath as you're doing these simple things. And then reaching out again, bring your fingertips to your shoulders. And you could bring the elbows together and apart and bring them back a few times. Maybe your elbows touch, maybe not. It's moving slowly with consciousness. And then reach your arms out. Take your right hand behind your skull, and then you could just reach through the left hand and try to turn in your thoracic spine a little bit. So you're moving the upper spine, the head staying, your hand is helping your head to stay fixed. So you're not turning too much with the head, it's moving along with the rest of the spine. And then reach your right arm out, left hand back behind the skull, turning the upper spine again in both directions. So feeling the thoracic spine moving a bit. Trying to keep your lower body kind of still. You're sitting on the floor so you can feel your sit bones grounding. And then releasing that, shaking your hands out a little bit. And then let's come to hands and knees. You might want to have a strap and a ball handy. So you said legs and shoulders. All right, we got it. So coming to hands and knees and just doing some cat-cow. So moving slowly to begin with, rounding and feeling the movements of your spine, moving with the breath. Just going slowly a couple times through. And maybe the next time that you come into cat, you could come up onto the fingertips for a moment and just round and kind of dome up under your armpits, let your head hang a little, feel your palms lifting, belly lifting. And then come to forearms, like you're in a little baby dolphin, and just slide a little bit forward and backwards here, like dolphin on your knees. And then maybe walk the knees back and come into prayer. You could lift the forearms and kind of wrap your elbows in. Let your head relax. You could rock a little bit from side to side over your forehead if that feels good. And then come back to center and walk the hands over towards the left, reaching and breathing. Maybe bringing yourself into more of an Ujjayi breath with a little closure at the back of the throat. Reaching from your, kind of reaching your sit bone back as you reach forward through your arm, lengthening through the waistline. And then coming back through center and over to the other side. Finding your nice steady breath, feeling the big stretch up the left side of the torso into the armpits. And then back to center. And take a breath. And then let's come back up to hands and knees again. And this time, reach back through your right foot and tuck your toes for a moment and just kind of stretch into the back of your leg. You could rock a little bit into your ankle joint. Just keeping with a neutral spine. And then let that leg float up and reach back, and then draw your knee towards your nose, rounding, exhale, and reach back with the leg, round forward again. This time when you reach back, bring your foot down and lift your right arm. So you're going to come over onto your left hand and knee and reach your right arm up. So it's a little bit of a balancing act. You could also, if it feels too much balancing work, just let your foot come back a little bit. That'll stabilize you. And then you could reach your right arm over, so you're feeling a big stretch up the right side of the body. Just keep your head lifted, keep it long, the neck long. And then maybe you could lift the right foot, breathing. And then bring the right foot down and turn back. Bring your right hand back down and draw that knee into the nose. And release it. And then just circle around in one direction and the other, just circling your hips off your ribs. And then come back to hands and knees again. This time we'll reach back through the left foot, tuck the ball of your foot into the floor of the mat, and just rock a little bit into the ankle, finding your breath, staying with your neutral spine, so a little lift to the belly. And then we'll draw the knee towards the nose, exhale, round, reach back, lift up, inhale, exhale, round the knee towards the nose, and then reach back and press your foot, the ball of your foot, into the mat, turning onto your right hand and your right knee. And you could let your foot come back. It's a little more stable, or you can keep it in this alignment. It's a little more balancing work. Reaching your left arm up and over, and taking a couple of breaths. And then you could let your left leg lift up. Maybe the arm comes up, finding the breath, and then bring the foot back down. Arm could come up and over, and then back to hands and knees. And circle the hips off the ribs again. Come back to center. Let's reach the right foot back again. Let's do that little sequence one more time. Round the knee towards the nose, exhale. Reach back, inhale. Exhale, draw the knee towards the nose, rounding, and then reach back and place your foot down on the floor, turning onto your left hand and left knee, opening up. You could reach your right arm up and over, so big side stretch. Maybe you're looking up. And then this time bring your hand back behind the head like we did before, keeping your hand on the back of the head. You could do a little movement of your upper spine, opening up, and just moving in the thoracic spine. And then reach the arm up again, lift your foot, and bring your right arm up and over, and then back down. And circle the hips. And then we'll switch sides. And find your tabletop, reach back through the left foot. Inhale. Exhale, round, draw the knee towards the nose. Inhale, reach. Exhale, round. And this time bring your foot down, your left foot down. And again, come over onto the right hand and the right knee. You could let your foot come back a bit. And reach the arm up and over. And take a breath. And then bring your left hand back behind the skull and open, just turning the upper spine a bit. Couple of times as you're balancing. And then coming back and reaching the arm up and lifting the foot. Balancing for a moment. Finding the breath. And bringing that foot down and the hand down and coming back. And then just come back to child's pose for a moment. You could make your knees a little wider, maybe stay with your forearms down, or bring the arms back and rest the shoulders, rest the forehead, whichever one feels more comfortable. Staying with your steady breath. And then coming forward again to hands and knees. And let's extend the right leg out to the side and open the chest. And then reach up, feeling a little opening of your heart. And then bring that hand down. And if it's okay for your knee, you could rock a little bit, just bringing your body weight back towards the left heel. Don't have to bring it all the way back, just a little rocking into the inner thigh. And then step that foot in, and we'll step the left foot out to the side and open up, coming into this twist. Lift your gaze, find your breath, keep your neck neutral, long, find the breath. Stacking your shoulder over your wrist, opening the heart, and then bring that hand back down and try a little bit of that. Just a little gentle rocking the hips back. Your toes on your left foot are kind of pointing forward, so you probably feel some stretch in the inner thigh. And then step that foot in. I'm just going to actually move the camera up because it's down kind of low. And then coming back to your hands and knees, maybe a little bit of cat-cow. Just a couple times. And then back to hands and knees. And tuck your toes and bring your weight back towards your hips back towards your heels, stretching the feet and the calves a little bit like this. And then untuck your toes, sitting back on the tops of the feet. For me, that doesn't feel like much, but for some people that could feel like a stretch for the top of the foot. And then come up to the knees, and let's we'll step the right foot forward. So we're coming into the lunge with the knee down, bringing the weight back over the left knee. Let the arms come up, maybe lifting the gaze. And then take some twists, so just reaching back with the right arm, and then the arms come back up, reaching back with the left arm, and back up. One more time through like that, trying to move fluidly with your breath. And then bringing the hands down, you could walk that foot forward, coming into a little deeper lunge, a different lunge, really. And you might be on blocks under your hands, or even have your hands on the knee. Just take a breath or two there. And then maybe your hands could come onto the inside of your right foot. And then you could rock your hips back like we did before. This time your foot's pointing forward. You could keep your toes on the floor. So just a couple times coming back and forth with the hips. And you might feel some stretch in the top of the foot. If you keep the ball of your foot on the floor and the toes on the floor, you could also lift the toes. And you'll feel more of a stretch in the back of the leg. And then come back to the lunge. And maybe make your prayer hands and take a little twist. Maybe you're keeping the knee down, or maybe you're lifting it, your choice. And one more breath, and unwinding that. And then step back, Bring that knee back. Walk your hands back and come back up onto your knees. You can take a little camel, just an easy back bend, bringing your hands back to the sacrum and lifting the heart. Drawing the belly in and lifting. And release that. And then stepping the left foot forward. Letting the arms come up. And finding your lunge so the weight is back over the right knee. Little engagement in the glutes on the right side will steady you. Hips are pretty square. And then reaching forward with the right hand, back with the left. Sweeping the arms up. Right hand comes back. And back through a couple times. Twice on each side. Right arm comes back, left arm forward, palms facing open, back to center. And take a breath. And then walking your left foot forward a bit. Coming into the lunge with a little compression of your abdomen against the inner thigh. Left hip's drawing back as the right hip draws forward. And then you can bring your left hand onto the inside of the foot and draw the hips back. Maybe toes stay on the floor and the hips come forward a couple times, just sort of moving through back and forth. And then maybe you let your toes lift. Feeling the stretch in the back of the leg. And then coming back to your lunge, and maybe the right elbow comes to the outer left knee, into this twisted lunge. You could lift your back knee if you want a little more. Breathing. Nice steady breath. Maybe Ujjayi breathing. Very subtle closure of the back of the throat. And releasing. And then let's step forward, coming into a forward bend. Feet are about hip width, and you could just bend the knees and rock a little bit from side to side. If it feels good for your back, you could clasp your hands and do that. Let your head hang. I think I see you doing that, Mary Lou. And then sweep your arms out and up, reaching up, lengthening up, feeling the soles of your feet on the floor. And then the hands come back together at the heart, and pause for a moment. And then let your arms hang and do a little bit of this twisting with the arms hanging. You could pick your feet up and you could look behind you, just moving however it feels good. With this twisting, and then coming back to center, and finding your standing mountain pose. Feet are on the floor, so just feeling the contact you're making with the surface of the floor that you're standing on, feeling how your body weight is distributed over the soles of your feet, and the arms come up again, reaching, lengthening up, and coming forward into a forward bend, hinging forward at the hip, long neutral spine, finding the breath. Tail's lifting, head and shoulders are lifting. You have straight legs or a little bend, finding your own version of the pose of Uttanasana, forward bend. And then go ahead and walk back to downward dog, spreading the hands there. Feeling your palms slightly lifting, feeling your fingers touching the floor, feeling how your shoulder blades are related to the hands and what happens if you kind of wrap the elbows in. Where are you reaching from? Finding the right place for the shoulder blades that's comfortable for your body. And then you could try reaching your right hand for the left lower leg. Taking a little twist in your upper spine. Wrapping the left elbow in, releasing that, and coming to the other side. Left hand comes to the right lower leg or ankle. Feeling the shoulder blade again. Where is it? How does it move? Where does it feel right? Releasing. And bringing your knees down. And let's come into frog pose. Let your knees come wide. Maybe coming to your forearms. The feet could stay together, or you could bring your feet down from your knees, flexing the feet so the ankles are on the floor. Either way. Just feeling into the inner groins, inner thighs, keeping your spine long and neutral, and breathing here. And then just another breath and coming forward onto the belly. And bringing your legs together. Coming into Sphinx pose. So feel your belly kind of pulling forward. Taking a few breaths here. You could turn your head. Feeling your neck rotation. And then if it feels good for your neck, you could walk your elbows forward and just either maybe bring your thumbs or the palms of your hands under your chin. Just coming into a little bit of extension and also a stretch in the back of the arms. You can kind of drag your thumbs down the tissue underneath your chin. And release that. And then kind of walk the elbows forward and bring your fingertips together, and you can kind of push the palms apart. Breathing into your belly. And then sweep the arms back, clasping your hands at your sacrum. Lifting up. You could roll your chest up, keeping the tops of the feet on the floor. Just a little bit of side to side. Maybe rolling all the way over, say onto your left side. Kind of pinning the left shoulder underneath you, so feeling a stretch in the front of the left chest, feeling your right shoulder blade sliding down, and also feeling a little stretch in the neck as you turn to look up and back. And then rolling onto your belly, and back to the other side, to the right side. Again, kind of pinning your right shoulder underneath. You'll feel some stretch in the neck, in the chest. And then back onto your belly. And rest for a moment. Just release your hands, rock the hips. Breathe into your belly. And then you could let your you just keep your upper body kind of neutral and lift your right leg. So keep your pelvis on the floor, lifting the right leg. And then release the right leg and lift the left leg. Reaching back. And then you could go one side to side, one at a time, like you're kicking. And release, rock your hips a bit. And then let's draw the hands back again, clasp the hands and lift the feet, coming into Shalabhasana, locust pose. For a couple of breaths, keeping your neck long, keeping the hands maybe lifted off your back. It's a little more work. Let's take 2 or 3 more breaths here. And release it. And again, just rocking the hips. Breathing into the belly. You can feel your belly pressing against the floor as you inhale. Shrinking away as you exhale. And then bending your knees, you could kind of keep your heels together and draw your elbows together, so you're like in an unbound kind of bow position. And then straighten the legs. You can just kind of keep the heels together and bend the knees a couple times like that, keeping your upper body lifting. Elbows are drawing together. You're breathing. Neck stays long and neutral. Next time you bend your knees, just lift the soles of the feet up a little higher and release. And rock the hips, let it go. You let your feet go side to side, a little windshield wiper. And then press into your hands and come up to prayer pose, lifting your hips, taking a few breaths, lengthening the spine. And then let's do a little rotation here, so tucking your right arm underneath. You could continue to reach forward with the left arm, or you can also walk your hand back and kind of press it into the floor, just getting a little more rotation in the upper spine. And it's fine to keep your forehead down and not turn the neck. If it feels comfortable to turn the head, do it. And then walk the left hand back and lift back up to all fours and tuck the left arm under, coming onto the back of the shoulder. Maybe the right arm reaches forward, or maybe the right arm walks back and kind of helps you to twist a little bit more. Nice steady breath. And then walking your hand in and helping to lift you up. Coming back to hands and knees, just a little cat-cow to even yourself out. Tucking your toes, lifting up to downward dog again. And taking a couple of breaths there. You might step your right foot up and over the left foot, lifting your right hip. Feeling some lengthening of the waistline on the right side, and then stepping back through center, the left foot comes up and steps behind the right foot, bringing the sole of the left foot to the floor, lifting your left hip. And stepping back to center. Moving tiny bit. And then walk your hands and your feet together. And come into a forward bend again. And then you might walk your feet about the width of a mat, a little wider than the hips, and come into a squat. Maybe pressing your knees apart, making your hands into prayer, and kind of using that leverage to push the knees apart as much as feels comfortable. Lengthening the spine. And then you could take a little twist, so maybe bring the back of your right arm into your right thigh and open the arms. And then close back to your prayer hands and open up into the other side, keeping your knees pushing out, not collapsing in, and then bring the palms together again. And then to come out of your squat, I'm going to bring my hands back and just to protect my knees, let my seat come down. I could probably do that without using my hands to support my body weight, but I'm being careful with my knees. And then reaching the legs forward, coming into Dandasana staff pose. So maybe your hands come to the floor and you can lengthen up. And then you could reach the arms forward and roll back. Just roll back slowly, keeping your legs on the floor. They're going to slide, but try to keep them on the floor. Reach the arms up and stretch. And then bring your arms up again towards the ceiling. Pick up your head and look at your toes and roll back up. And let's do that again, just rolling back another time. Tucking your pelvis so you're actually rounding your back as you come down. And reach up. And then let's draw the knees in and rock a little bit side to side. Let's do a little bit of leg stretching. So you might want your strap for this. I'm going to come a little in towards the camera. So we'll do some more, a few more standing things, but for now, just coming onto your back and bringing the strap underneath the sole of the right foot. You could keep your left knee bent. Letting the shoulders relax and the head relax back. Finding your little space under the neck, so not flattening it out. And then just kind of working from a neutral spine here. Finding your breath. And then you could let your left knee open to the left and your left arm come to the left as your right foot goes towards the right. And I'm using the strap to support my leg. You could also put your elbow on the floor. Just taking a couple breaths there. I'm going to straighten my left leg because I'm getting a cramp in my left glutes. And then bring that leg back up and straighten the leg if you haven't. Taking the strap into the left hand and the right arm out to the side. You could just bring the leg across, but keep your lower back on the floor. Kind of pinning it down. Just bringing it over as far as you can. Breathing. And then let your hip lift. Coming deeper into the twist. Your foot might come all the way over, or you might, like me, prefer to have it lifted, keeping your shoulders on the floor. Taking a few breaths there. You might take your thumb into the hip and kind of draw it down. And then bringing that leg back up. And just taking another couple of breaths here, finding basically an upside down Hanumanasana. So staying with your neutral spine. And working from there. And then bring your left foot up into the strap. You could pause for a moment with both feet, kind of like you're in a forward bend. Maybe you can keep your sacrum on the floor and draw the feet in a little bit. And then release the left, or right foot, bringing the sole of your right foot to the floor. So you might keep the right knee bent, taking the strap into the left hand. Just pulling your foot towards you, but keep sacrum on the floor, keep that sense of curve of the lumbar spine. It doesn't have to be like in some perfect position. It's just more like you're constantly sort of moving so that you can find what feels like a neutral position for you. And then with the strap in the left hand, you could let your knee and your right knee and right arm drop to the right and the left foot come out to the side for a little stretch of your inner thigh and groins, and take a couple breaths there. And then bring that leg back up, straighten your right leg. You could take the strap into the right hand, left arm out to the side, and bring your leg across, keeping sacrum on the floor. Just take it over as far as you can without lifting your hip off the floor. Nice steady breath. And then you could come further into the twist, bringing the foot over, maybe looking back over your left shoulder. You could take your thumb into your hip and kind of roll it down. Couple breaths there. And feeling that breath in the left side of the rib cage as it's stretching. And then the leg comes back up. And take both feet into the strap again. So you're like in this forward bend, but your back is staying on the floor. And then remove the strap. We'll just set it off to the side. Draw the knees in towards the chest and rock a little bit. And then let's roll on the spine like this. Rocking up and rolling back, and you can do that however it feels good for you. Hopefully you have a soft enough place in your house to do this. And then coming up. And let's come up to stand. Let's take the strap and do some shoulder flossing. So just coming to your standing mountain pose, taking the strap as we do, a little wider than the elbows, and just bringing it up and back and then forward, feeling the shoulder blades move. And breathing as you do this. The next time that you bring it forward and back, you could pause there and maybe do a little bit of turning from side to side. And release it. And let your arms hang for a moment, just let it go. And then let's do some of this where we bring the strap up and over. So one elbow bends and then the other, and the arms come around. And you can move as much as you want to with your body. So it might be just more of a shoulder movement and your body stays still, or you could also kind of get into a little bit of rounding forward, bending of the knees, side to side. And then switching the direction of the movement. Just letting the movement kind of be your own exploration. And then just release your arms for a moment. You can put the strap around your neck, bringing your right elbow on top of left. And letting your shoulder blades kind of stay down as you lift elbows and fingertips. And if you'd like to, you could come into a forward bend as you do that. And back up. Letting shoulder blades stay down as you lift up, and then release the arms. Open the chest and bring left elbow on top. So eagle arms, lifting fingertips and elbows. Shoulder blades stay down, maybe rounding forward. And then coming back up, lifting elbows and fingertips, sliding shoulders, release the arms, let them hang for a minute. And then taking the strap, let's do this one. So bring the strap into the right hand. You can take your left hand onto the upper right arm and kind of wrap it in. And then we'll stand into the right foot and reach back for the strap with the left hand. Maybe lifting your left foot. Staying square. So rotating your right shoulder and releasing that side and just letting it go. And then we'll stand into the left foot. Bring your left arm up. Maybe help kind of wrap it in with the right hand. And And then we'll reach back for the strap with the right hand and come into a little one-legged balance here, maybe lifting right foot, opening the chest and rotating your shoulders back and releasing and just letting that go. And you could just set your strap off to the side. Take your right hand back and reach for your left elbow for a moment. And you could kind of tip your left ear towards the left shoulder so you can feel that stretch in the right side of your neck. Just be gentle, kind of feeling into it. You can tip your chin up and down. Maybe turning to look up. And release that side. And then left hand comes to the right elbow. Again, finding your standing mountain pose. And then just feeling into that stretch into the side of your neck on the left side. Maybe the chin kind of tips up and down. Not pulling too hard, but just feeling a good stretch. And then releasing your arms again. And just a little bit of movement of the neck. You could go circle forwards. Just moving the head and neck from side to side so the chin comes down towards the chest and then it's like a half circle. And then come back to center, and then you could go back just gently. And then back to center, tipping the chin towards the chest and looking down. So staying upright in your body, just tipping chin to the chest, so you're just stretching the back of the neck. And then lift the chin, stretch this tissue underneath in the neck and the chin. You could even push and release that. Then take your right hand back again to the back and bring the back of your hand into your back, so standing upright. So we're not moving our trunk, we're staying steady and rotating the shoulder. But there's that sense of pushing the hand into the back and the back into the hand. And then you could walk it up a little higher. Kind of spreading your palm. And release that side, let it go. And then we'll bring the left hand back, starting kind of low. Might feel really different from side to side. And then walk the hand up, so you're angling your elbow a little bit down further. And kind of pressing the back of the hand into the upper back. And releasing and shaking it out a bit. Letting it go. And then let's sweep the arms out again and just really slowly, like you're gathering up the air like we did at the beginning, reaching up, lengthening up, and exhale, come forward into your forward bend again. And take a couple of breaths there. And then walk yourself into downward dog again. And take a couple breaths in your down dog. And then let your knees come down. And let's, I'm going to do a couple of outer hip stretches, but let's come into pigeon. So you could just step your right knee forward and out to the side a bit and come into your variation of pigeon. I'm just going to turn this down a little. So being mindful of your knee and taking a few breaths there, just feeling the stretch in the outer hip muscles. Might feel it elsewhere also. Kind of choosing how much weight you're going to bring forward. So I'm staying on my forearms. Could also just be kind of up on the hands or even more forward, your choice, of course. And then let's take a little quad stretch if that feels good for you. Coming up onto the left hand, reaching back for your foot with the right hand. So first a twist, kind of pulling your foot back into your hand. And releasing that, and then you might switch hands, and if you want, you could draw the heel in towards the buttock there. So you're getting some stretch in the quads. Don't forget to breathe, nice steady breath. And then release the foot. And leaning towards your right hip, make your legs into 90 degrees, both of them into a 90-degree angle for a moment. You could try lifting your hands. And then maybe bringing the knee into the left knee into the right foot and taking an easy twist. And then this left foot could come around right in front of the right shin, and you could bring some weight forward into the back of the left lower leg. Just as much body weight as feels good into the ankle and calf muscles. So you could support yourself with your hands and sort of gauge. You can lift the heel also, but I think keeping the heel down, you can get a good stretch, and you might not be able to come too far forward, but that's okay, just feeling that. Feel the ankle joint. Then bringing your seat back down, and let's extend the right leg and just bring the sole of the left foot down. And sitting up tall, we'll take a twist. So wrapping your right arm around the left knee. You could also bring it underneath if that's more comfortable. And just coming into the twist. So feeling your spine turning and feeling where it's turning. Not yanking hard on it, just letting it turn comfortably, rotate. Keeping some ease in your neck. And then turning back to face forward. And let your left knee drop out, bringing the sole of the left foot into the inner thigh. You might want your strap for this. Or maybe not, just coming into this Mahamudra, coming forward. Using the strap if you like, staying with your long neutral spine. A few breaths there. And then kind of backing up out of it. And you could lift this leg, this lower left leg, and just kind of move into the hip if that feels okay for your knee, just kind of cradling your lower leg, moving the hip joint, rocking it like a little baby. And then taking that ankle and putting it on top of the right knee. You could bring your hands back behind you and lift up, and then your hips can come as close to the heel as feels good, maybe a little side to side rocking. Kind of lifting the heart, breathing. And then straightening your right leg out and your left leg out, and just let your feet flop. And just kind of let the femurs rotate. Looks like you might have said something to somebody. Oh, somebody else is watching. Hi, if somebody's really watching, hello. And then we're going to do the other side. So that'll be the left knee forward for pigeon. So coming into pigeon on the other side. So finding your variation of pigeon on the left side, maybe up on your hands or coming to your forearms. Taking a few breaths there. And just finding your long neutral spine, so watching for your head to drop, keep it lifted. You could support it if you need to with a block or something. Trying to avoid forward head. And a couple more breaths here. Feeling it where you feel it. And then walking the hands in, taking the right hand and planting and reaching back for your left ankle. So a little twist. Kind of pulling back on the hand with the ankle. Feel the stretch in the front of your belly, maybe the psoas. Deeper in your belly, stretching a little. And release that, and then planting your left hand, you could bring your right hand or elbow back and just draw the heel in, maybe towards the buttock for some quad stretch. Being cautious of your knee. And releasing that, and then leaning towards the left, you could make two 90-degree angles with your legs for a moment. Sitting up tall, and then turning, drawing the knee towards the sole of the foot. Turning just into a little twist, easy twist. And unwinding that, and then straighten your left leg, bring your sole of your right foot to the floor with the knee bent, the right knee bent. Sitting up tall, we'll do the twist on this side. So that could be, again, with the left elbow wrapping, or maybe the left hand comes underneath, so the left shoulder can just stay down and back. Turning into the twist and breathing. So leaving some room for the breath. Steady breath, and then turning back to face forward, and then we'll let the right knee drop out to the side, and let's come into this Mahamudra. You could use your strap around the foot, or reach for your foot with your hands. Just finding your breath, staying with your long neutral spine. So your tail's kind of lifting, head and shoulders stay lifting. Breathing. And then coming back up and picking up this lower leg. You could kind of cradle that lower leg, kind of rocking it. Feeling into your hip. Rocking it like a little baby. And then bringing that ankle onto your left knee, hands come back behind you. Then you could walk your hips in towards the heel and just a little movement side to side. Feeling into the outer hip muscles again. Don't forget to breathe. And then coming back to center and straighten that leg out and straighten the other leg out and just let them flop a little in and out, rotating your legs, your hips, letting it go. And then let's come back onto our back again, maybe the same thing, reaching forward and rolling back, going slowly. And reaching your arms up and stretching. I forgot to say, let's have a ball. Let's take a ball and let's start with the ball underneath the upper back. And reach your hands back behind your head and just do some of this kind of like almost little push-ups. So you're just doing a little bit of a, I don't want to use the word crunch, but you're kind of elongating your belly and then you're kind of contracting it. And your spine is extending and then coming back to neutral. And you're supporting your head so that your neck's not straining too much. And then maybe the next time you come back, you could stay there, put a pillow under your head, or maybe your head comes to the floor, just coming into fish over the ball as we do. I prefer to have a pillow underneath my head. This one's a little big, but so that I don't feel like I'm straining my neck too much. I'm just kind of draping back for a couple breaths. Hopefully you have everything you need at home for this. Sometimes it feels good to lengthen the arms back. And then using your hands to support the head, coming back up. And let's do a little bit of rolling into the upper back. So you might lift the hips and roll up and down as feels good. Maybe coming into bridge with your shoulders, upper back, pressing into the ball. And a little bit more rolling. Maybe I like to come into this side body, especially into the kind of lats and underneath the arm, subscapularis. And then over onto the other side. Exploring into some of that area. And then let's take the ball and put it underneath our underneath our sacrum. And you could just do a little bit of movement of the pelvis, tipping and tucking to begin with. Just rolling into that area a bit. And then with your tailbone pressing into the ball, lifting the legs up, arms out to the sides, and let's do some of this one leg at a time. Maybe starting slow, but you might start to pick up speed a little bit. Key did this in class the other day, and she said to do almost like a Bastrika breathing when you go fast. You might try that, or you can just go slow. And then draw the knees in towards the chest. And then we'll do both legs a couple of times. So lengthening up, heels together, toes apart. bringing the feet down and back up, and you can inhale them down and exhale back up as you press tailbone into the ball. So inhaling down, press tailbone into the ball and exhale back up. Say 2 more times. And maybe on the last time, you could pause and just hover for a moment. And then let your feet come down to the floor and drape over the ball for a moment. You could draw your right knee in towards your chest. Keep the left leg extended if that feels good. And then switch. Draw the left knee in. Should get pretty good extension of the right hip, feeling stretch. And then maybe both legs again for a moment. And then just walking the feet in, take the ball and just set it off to the side. And let's roll our hips up into bridge pose, keeping the neck neutral. And just take a couple of breaths there. And then slowly roll down. And take your right foot on top of the right ankle on top of the left knee. And you could, for a moment, just lift your left foot and draw. Maybe bring your hands back behind your left thigh. Maybe rocking a little, just feeling into the outer hip muscles. And then release your leg if you've got it. Take your left hand onto the right ankle and your right arm out to the side, and just let the sole of your left foot come to the floor, maybe holding the ankle still if that feels good for your body. If you want to just come into a traditional twist, you can do that too. If this doesn't feel right. I kind of like it. I get a different kind of feeling. Stretch feeling in the waistline on the right side and up even into the rib cage a little bit and down into the hip. And then bringing that leg back up and switching, bringing left ankle on top of right knee, maybe reaching back behind your right thigh, rocking a little. You could press your left elbow into the left thigh. Figure 4 stretch. And then releasing your hands, bringing the sole of your right foot to the floor and taking your right hand on top of the left ankle. Your left arm comes out to the side and your left foot comes over as you hold on to the ankle, looking back over your left shoulder. And breathing. And then releasing that side, bringing knees towards the right. Maybe the right ankle on top of the left knee. Nice quiet breathing, just relaxing back towards the floor. And releasing that knee. And just one last moment with your knees kind of drawing in towards the chest. And then maybe the soles of the feet stay together and you just come into a reclined, bound angle position. You could bring your arms up, maybe clasping your elbows or just bending the elbows and coming towards Shavasana, starting with this reclined bound angle pose. Starting to surrender, you could extend your arms and your legs. Just stay on your back for a couple breaths in your final resting pose, your corpse position. So letting yourself surrender for a few moments. Just allowing the front of your body to be very soft, like it's collapsing a little bit into the back of the body. Feeling all of the contents of your abdomen settling back towards the floor. Letting your head be heavy, and the front of the chest softening and opening. Feeling your shoulder blades, your spine, the back of the pelvis. Your legs are heavy. All of that strengthening and stretching work that you did is just kind of dissipating off into the ether. Your practice is just, you're letting it go. Knowing that everything that you did is good enough. Just staying with your gentle, natural breathing. Noticing if you can let go of any tension in your jaw or your face. Just feeling your forehead softening as if somebody's injecting Botox into your forehead, and all of the lines are just disappearing like magic. Some kind of nature's Botox. So all of those muscles are just letting go. And those muscles in the temples are also softening, and in the jaw, the cheeks, the tongue, the front of your throat and chin. So there's no tension there. Your head is supported. So just feeling your gentle breath and feeling the effects of your own practice and your own body. And then with this feeling of kind of integration, surrender, you might bring some of that with you as you come back to your seat, just to finish how we started in a seated position. Feeling lengthen your spine. And again, coming back to the heaviness of your lower body and the lightness of your spine, rising up, finding a neutral spine, so kind of moving a little bit, kind of bringing your weight a little bit side to side until you feel settled, feeling for the head to be supported, so no strain. Keeping that sense of relaxation in the face, in the forehead, jaw, and finding your breath. And just letting your breath be natural, so no strain in the breath, just comfortable. Taking a couple of breaths. And then maybe bringing the hands together at the heart and just pausing to recall your intention if you set one for practice. And just bowing your head to your own practice, to your own inner teacher, your higher self or your higher power. And thank you so much, Mary Lou. I was completely picturing your body, because I know it pretty well, going through the poses and just imagining you in your own home doing your practice. Thank you so much for joining in, and for anyone who might be watching later, we appreciate you, our fellow practitioners and students of the Hatha Yoga Center. Looking forward to the time where we can be together again in real life. Thank you.